So we want to calculate the following, and the first one is 2/9 plus 5/9. Now this one is particularly straightforward because we have the same denominator. When we have the same denominator, all we need to do is add the numerators. So 2 plus 5 is 7, so it's 7/9. So if you've got 2/9 and you've got 5/9, you've got 7/9. Just like if you've got, two Smarties and you've got 5 Smarties, put them together, you've got 7 Smarties. Now, 3/5 plus 3/10, different denominators. In this case, they're related denominators. So what we want is a common denominator. We want a number that 5 and 10 both go into. And it's useful to have the smallest such number, although it's not necessary. So if you end up using 50 here, you'll just end up with a fraction that cancels down. However, they both go into 10. So that means that I'm going to leave that fraction unchanged and make this one a denominator of 10. So what we've done there is multiply this denominator by 2 to get 10. So we have to do the same to the numerator. So it becomes 6/10. Now we have the same denominator, so it's like the first example. So we just do 6 plus 3, and the answer is 9/10. Now, in the next example, 3/5 plus 3/7, the denominators are different and unrelated. So what we can do is find the lowest common multiple of the two of them, which is just 5 times 7, which is 35. So we multiplied this by 7, so we need to do the same to this numerator so that it's an equivalent fraction. So 21 out of 35 is an equivalent fraction to 3/5. We multiplied this denominator by 5, so we do the same to that one, so that's 15. And then same denominator, so we can just add them. 21 and 15 is 36. And that's an improper fraction. Now you might be able to leave it there, but we might need to change it to a mixed number. And if we do that, 35 goes into 36 once, leaving a remainder of 1. So it's 1 and 1 over 35. And we've got 6/7, add 3/8. It's the same situation as the last one. And the lowest common multiple is 56, 7 times 8. So we multiplied this one by 8, multiplied this one by 8, giving us 48. And for this denominator, we multiplied it by 7. So we have to multiply the top by 7, which is 21. And so that gives me 69 over 56. Now if we wanted that as a mixed number, then 56 goes into 69 once, and the remainder there is 13. So it would be 1 and 13 over 56. Now with the last one, 2 and 2/3, add 3 and 3/4. There's a couple of different approaches you could take. One is to add the whole number parts. 2 and 3 is 5, and then add the fractions. So for these two fractions, common denominator would be 12. And so we've multiplied this denominator by 4, do the same to the top. Multiply this one by 3, do the same to the top. And so we've got 5 plus 17 over 12. Now, we can't have 5 and 17 over 12 because that's an improper fraction. 12 goes into 17 once with 5 over. 5 and 1 is 6, so the answer there is 6 and 5/12. So that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is to make them into improper fractions. So to do that, we've got 3 times 2 is 6, add 2 is 8, so we'd be doing 8 over 3. And then 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 is 15. It's 15 over 4, which gives us, so we've multiplied this one by 4, do the same to the top, 32 over 12. This one's been multiplied by 3, do the same to the top, and that would be 45. And so 45 and 32 is 77. Okay, so how many times does 12 go into 77? Well, I know that 12 times 5 equals 60. So 12 times 6 is 72. So it goes in 6 times. That's 72, that's 77, leaving a remainder of 5. So 6 and 5/12. Now they're both good methods, and sometimes this one works better, and sometimes this one works better. The downside of the one on the right is that if you've got very big numbers, you end up with huge numbers in your fractions, and then it's difficult to do the divisions. The difficulty with this one is sometimes we end up with this situation. You have to remember that you have to add the 5 and the 1 there. And the other thing is that subtraction can be done by both methods, but subtraction can be confusing by this method on the left, and it's less confusing with the one on the right. So always bear that in mind.